Okay, we're going to look today at another AO2 quote from Macbeth. This is one of my favourite ones from the play, and it's from Act 1, Scene 4. So this is before Macbeth has spoken to Lady Macbeth about the prophecies, but obviously after he has received the prophecies. So this is sort of an indication of his sort of immediate reaction to the witches telling him that he's going to go on to be king. Okay, so if we start the word hide, here this is an imperative verb. So an imperative is an instruction. So this is Macbeth using imperative language to try and take control of the stars and make them help him and assist him in what he's trying to achieve by hiding his intentions so that other people can't see what he's really thinking. Remember, at this point, he's brave Macbeth. He's been rewarded by Duncan for his amazing skill on the battlefield, and he wants to maintain that perception that he's a good guy, and so he needs to hide these thoughts that he's having. He's calling for darkness to help him and hiding his ambitions and these sort of dark thoughts that he's having immediately about how he could kind of speed up the prophecy, how he could become king quicker. He's trying to command nature, so stars are part of nature, high up on the chain of being. This is something that only God should be trying to do, and here we see him playing God. We've seen him do that a little bit in Act 1, Scene 2 with the way that he punished, executed the traitor. Remember, realistically, he should have sort of got the traitor, taken them to Duncan, and then Duncan, as God's representative on earth, could have decided what the sanction is, but Macbeth chose to play God and kill the traitor on the battlefield. So that's showing that this isn't the first time he's trying to kind of take control in a way that he shouldn't necessarily do. It also shows that desire for control. So it's breaking down the chain of being. He's lower on the chain of being and he shouldn't be trying to take control over these things, but because he's so ambitious and he's so arrogant, he is trying to do that, and ultimately that's what's going to lead to his downfall. So his ambition is a big issue for him. Yeah, so this is beginning to show Macbeth's hamartia. So that's a problem, a flaw in a character. It's the thing that kind of leads to their downfall, and for Macbeth that is that ambition, that as soon as he's been given that prophecy, he's starting to have dark thoughts and he wants to get ahead and he wants all that gain for himself, even though he knows Duncan doesn't deserve it, he shouldn't do it, he wants to do it anyway because he's ambitious. Okay, so we've got this later part of the quote, let not light see my black and deep desires. I'm going to focus on the light and the black. So we've got this use of Manichaean imagery that Shakespeare is fond of in this play. Manichaean imagery is where writers use light and dark to indicate good and evil. It's sort of just shorthand for that idea. Here we can see that the use of the noun light is being used to sort of link to honesty, goodness, potentially even God, and he doesn't want the light to see the deed that he's going to commit. It's almost like he's requesting these good forces to let him carry out the deed, and that if light sees him, that he will be punished for that. Now that might be the light of the people around him realising that he's trying to commit regicide, but it also is God and God seeing him, and he's naively trying to hide from God. It's important for the Jacobean audience that that can't happen. You can't hide from God. He sees everything, he knows everything. Then we've got the use of the adjective black, and that shows that Macbeth really does understand that these thoughts are evil, and he's making that clear connection for himself. He recognises that what he's doing is a sin, it's an unforgivable sin, and that he is sort of aligning himself with evil for this. This isn't a naive character that's just sort of trying to do things and doesn't know that it's wrong. He absolutely does understand that this is the wrong thing to do and that there'll be consequences to it if he's found out. Because we've got that juxtaposition between the light and the dark, we could also say that there's that beginning of an internal conflict, that sense that he's not sure whether he's willing to go through with it or not, and that's mirrored through the use of those sort of contrasting light and dark. Let not light see my deep desires. The adjective deep gives us a suggestion that these are really strong desires. It implies again that he's aware of his desires, he's aware of this need in him. And it does almost suggest that it's bottomless, the depth of his ambition is endless, and I think we do see that throughout the rest of the play. He's not satisfied. As soon as he becomes king, it's not enough. He's then sort of thinking about, okay, I need to get rid of Banquo and Banquo's children so that I can stay king. The depth of his ambition, the infiniteness of it, is ultimately what leads to his downfall. We also have the sense that the word deep shows that they are kind of deep within him, like rooted within him. And I think at this point we are supposed to be questioning that amazing figure, the way he was presented in Act 1, Scene 2, as this sort of amazing soldier, this amazing hero, brave Macbeth. Underneath that surface is actually deep-rooted evil and desire, and we are supposed to be questioning, was that all just an act? Was he ever the brave person that he was portrayed to be, or the sort of noble person that he was portrayed to be? Desire, so we've got the noun desire, and that shows that this is, again, that self-awareness, that this is just something that he wants. This isn't a need. This is just something that he desires, something that he thinks would be nice. The fact that he's willing to commit regicide for something that he likes the idea of, really starts to show the flaws in his character, and really helps us understand what he's like, even though the other characters, other than Lady Macbeth, can't see his true self. We see that his kind of need and want for power overrule any sense of potential guilt that he might feel, or any sense that he shouldn't behave this way because it's wrong. He wants this more than that. There is some linguistic mirroring that I'm not going to go into in much detail, but linguistic mirroring is where two characters speak in a similar way, and it emphasises the connection between the two of them. And Lady Macbeth, shortly after this scene, does a similar sort of request for darkness. She calls for thick night, and the coming up from hell, whereas Macbeth is looking to sort of hide God away. So very, very similar, but subtly different. The linguistic mirroring between the two of them emphasises their amazing connection. At the start of the play, I always see them as two halves of the same person, and they speak in a really similar way to emphasise the depth of the connection in their marriage, how strong their bond is. Okay, so finally, the fact that he is talking to the stars is interesting, because we perceive stars as guiding forces. If we think about the Bible, the three wise men, they follow the star and it takes them to Jesus. It's a sense that it's sort of God's medium for directing us to where we're supposed to go, the path that we're supposed to follow. And the fact that Macbeth is asking the stars to hide means that he doesn't want to take the path that he's supposed to take, and he's absolutely aware that he's deviating away from what he's supposed to do, taking that route from goodness, or at least perceived goodness, that he's seen as a good man, into a darkness and an evil that his ambition is taking him down that path, and he knows that he shouldn't be doing it.